how to establish a culture of employee engagement. In this video, we're going to talk about what employee engagement is and how you can nurture employee engagement in your organizations. By now, you've probably heard of quiet quitting. Well, it's a new term for a very old dynamic. Quiet quitting is essentially the unengaged worker. It's the employee who is doing the bare minimum to get by and not get fired, but they're not putting in that extra 110%. They're not really bought into your organization's purpose, and they're not particularly happy at work either. So do you have quiet quitters in your workplace, and what is tanking those darn engagement scores? Most organizations out there today have the annual employee engagement survey. That survey will pop out a number, and hopefully your leaders have goals for what those numbers should be. But more often than not, especially post-COVID, we're seeing a lot of organizations not meeting those targets. People are feeling overwhelmed and burned out. So how do we encourage employee engagement? It starts with a simple strategy of understanding what drives employee engagement and how to foster a culture that encourages that engagement. So first of all, it's important to know that disengagement is at an all-time high. In a Gallup study of 57,000 employees, 16% of employees said that they were actively disengaged. Gallup also shared a stat that said that there are up to 85% of employees who feel unengaged at work right now, and a bad or toxic culture is usually to blame. So what kind of culture do you have? Well, one of the things that I've noticed since COVID is that people are asking bigger questions at work. The three big questions that people are asking about life in general, but particularly at work, is around meaning, it's about what makes them feel whole, and it's about who they are. Those are questions that we as people have been asking since the beginning of consciousness. Spiritual seekers have been trying to get to the bottom of those questions since the beginning of time. But now, ever since COVID, you're starting to see employees bring those questions into the workplace. And so employees need to think about employee engagement differently. Rather than just trying to figure out if employees are productive and if they're happy, we want to know if they feel like they have meaning in the work that they're doing, if they connect to their purpose. And not only that, do they feel whole as a person? Do they know what their own personal purpose is? And do they feel like they can go after that in the work that they're doing at this organization? Who are they and who do they want to be? That sense of personal development is something that you can nurture in your workplace and that will make people feel more fulfilled. So that might be the key. Maybe one of the things we should do is question if employee engagement is still the goal. Employee engagement, when you look at the definition of engagement, it is the extent to which someone's focus and attention is on a particular task at hand. So when you're measuring employee engagement, you're basically trying to measure productivity. How much attention are you paying to work? Are you focused at work? And that's good information for productivity, but is it good for the employee? So much focus on employee engagement and productivity has led to burnout. People are leaving the workforce, not just leaving companies, they're leaving work as an idea, as a concept. And so in order to make sure that we have enough people to do the jobs that we have to nurture well-being and nurture that sense of wholeness and purpose that every employee brings to the workplace. Instead of employee engagement, what if we measured something new? And that is employee fulfillment. Fulfillment is the extent to which your character and abilities are fully developed. It's the extent to which you feel whole at work. You feel like you are developing into the person that you want to be. And not only do you know what your purpose is, but you're going for it. And that will help answer the age-old question of who am I and who do I get to be at work and how does work help me be the person that I want to be? These are deeper and more profound questions, but they're questions that will elevate the way that you measure employee well-being, not just engagement, but fulfillment. I connect with the purpose that we can unleash the power of culture to inspire businesses and people to reach their full potential. That is at the core of what we're talking about. Are people fulfilling their own potential? And can their business help drive that? If you connect with that purpose too, then subscribe to this channel and join a community of people who are passionate about workplace culture. So culture, that is the key to employee fulfillment. It's understanding whether or not you have created an environment in which people can be fulfilled. So how do you create culture? Culture is the experiences that we have that shape our beliefs, and those beliefs lead to the actions that we take, which get us results. So if you're looking for the result of employee fulfillment, then you need your employees to take action in which they will feel fulfilled. That's personal to every single employee. What it means, though, is that you need to foster and nurture the cultural belief that employee fulfillment is important, that it's something that we can prioritize and we should lean into. And that means every employee needs to have many experiences that reinforce that belief. Ways that you can reinforce that belief. For example, one way that you can do that is take a look at the way that you're doing performance appraisals. Most performance appraisals out there are a year in review. Let's look at the last year and see how you did, what you didn't do, and what you need to do better next year. It's a gap analysis about what the employee's gaps are. So there is a better way of doing a performance appraisal. First of all, what if you did those conversations every quarter rather than every year? By having a conversation every quarter, we are growing together as a leader and employee. You're having more frequent feedback conversations that will inform what an employee should focus on. So at the end of the year, no one is surprised about how they did. They know how they've been doing because they have fostered a culture of communication at work. Not only can you have more frequent feedback conversations by having these quarterly reviews, but you can expand what you're reviewing. Rather than just talking about professional goals, you can actually bring in personal goals. My quarterly review with my boss not only talks about my professional goals, but it talks about what I want in my personal life, in my family life, with my friends and my community, with my service commitments, outside of work entirely. And having the space to check in with my leader about that and knowing that my leader cares about that is an experience which helps me shape the belief that my whole self is important at work. And I feel more fulfilled and also more engaged. So if you want more tips, then I've got a free gift for you. It's a guide to how you can create a culture that encourages not only employee engagement, but employee fulfillment. You can either click on the link below in the description, or you can go to gift.culture.io to get this ebook.